Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Mr. John. And today we're going to learn how to make a face mask using a sewing machine. Our materials today are fabric, thread, and I'm also going to add a pipe cleaner to make the nose piece a little bit stiffer. The equipment today will consist of a sewing machine, a ruler, fabric scissors, a rotary cutter, pins, and a de-stitcher in case we need it. The first step is going to be cutting your fabric. So you want to make sure that your fabric is 15 inches tall and 9 inches wide. Or if you're using a front-facing fabric and a backing fabric, each needs to be 7.5 inches tall and 9 inches wide. Before you cut your fabric, remember to wash it. If you don't wash your fabric, then after you sew it, if you wash it, it may shrink, and that shrinking could add to warping to your project. So remember to wash your fabric before you sew. It's also helpful to iron your fabric before you sew as well. Since I have this fancy mat, all I have to do is line up my ruler with the lines here and cut off some of the salvage. Then what I'm going to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this line up here then I'm going to count 9 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You want to be careful with rotary cutters because people have chopped into their fingers for many, many, many stitches. And there we go. We have our 9 by 15 square or rectangle. After we've cut the fabric, I like to give it a quick press with my iron to make sure that it's nice and crisp. Now I'm switching over to 2 separate pieces so that you can kind of see what you would do with the novelty fabric. So if you have plain fabric like this one, all you need to do is match them up and sew the tops. If you've got a novelty print like this, what you need to do is flip it upside down and then match the 2 up. If you are confident in your matching skills, you can just go right ahead and sew that top and that bottom. But if you are not, what you can do is you can add pins to the corners to make sure that the fabric doesn't shift while you're putting it through your machine. We're going to start with the top stitch. You always want to make sure that you start 2 or 3 stitches ahead so that you can go backwards. So that's... Now we're going to do the same to the bottom. And voila, we have a tube. The next part of our project is going to be sewing the sides. So to make it a little bit easier, what you can do is give it a little tuck right here. Make sure that the sides are even, because we're going to be sewing this edge. And this will give us a nice finished look. I've flipped our project right side out. The seams are on the inside now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew right across here to add a pipe cleaner. What the pipe cleaner does is it makes it a little bit more easier to adjust around your nose. You can skip this step if you want and go directly to sewing the sides. Now comes the difficult choice. Do you use elastic, bias tape, or grosgrain ribbon? Elastic and bias tape are really hard to find, but you may be able to find grosgrain ribbon in your local stores. We're going to use elastic today because my wife had a garage sale find that turned into gold. Now we're going to set the elastic into each one of the corners. So we're going to put the top at the top, and then we're going to connect the bottom at the bottom. Haha, missed one. All right, so now that we have everything attached, we just need to fold and pin it. Now we're going to pin it. What we want to do is we want to leave about 1.5 inches here and fold it over. And the fold itself should only be about 1/2 inch. Okay, now that we have a good fold, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin it down so I don't lose it. Then I'm going to do the second fold. You want to try and make sure that the two sides are lined up. So that looks pretty good. There we go. Now we're going to do our final stitching. So remember how the sides are still open. We're going to stitch down here. We're going to stitch across, and then we're going to stitch all the way back up here. And just like that, once you remove the pins, you have a fully functional mask. Ta-da! Thank you for joining us for this tutorial. If you liked it, my name is John. Please feel free to like, share, and leave a comment below. If not, my name is Michael, and we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us.